Bingo.
Hey, hello, everybody. This is Jeff Reinebold. We are back for our Thursday edition, week 4 of the NFL, and we are talking all things NFL. I'm joined as ever by my co-host. I guess you could see you really moved up now. You're really big time, and now I've given you another title in addition to all the other titles that you have. But anyway, this is the Jeff Reinebold Show, and we are brought to you by 888 Sport, the official betting partner of the National Football League in both the UK and Ireland. And we are here to talk ball.
Jeff, you're trained well, my man. You're trained well. Week 5 of the NFL season.
Is it?
Week 5, man. It's rolling in. Can I just say, I was talking, we had Phoebe on the Steelers podcast last night, and we're going to have you on very soon. Jeff, I can't wait to get back over here. Just like I was thinking last night, like I can't wait to get back on TV over here, and we're getting close.
Yeah, we are. We're getting close. We're within a month, right? Now we've got 3 more weeks to play till we start the playoffs. And then if we win the championship, that's 3 more. So the longest it could be is 6 weeks, which would put us right about Thanksgiving. And that's when it really gets fun. I love the games between Thanksgiving and Christmas the most because obviously it's that time of year, and they're the games that really impact the end of the schedule.
Absolutely. And Jeff, I feel like we're in for a memorable few weeks and months, and I'm already smiling at the thought of it. Picking up Jeff at 6 a.m. from a floor in Vegas somewhere. I'm joking. Here, week 5 of the season. And you know what, Jeff? For people listening to this podcast, it's a Friday morning. We'll just put a quick message. People watching this live, please do put a comment, question in, let us know where you're from, and we'll do it in the second half as always. Jeff, week 5 is just stacked, and I'll go through the games in a wee second. Obviously, it's a big weekend for us over here. I think this is the best London game ever. I'm putting myself in the spot. I think it is.
Oh, I think it has the makings of it, Mike, because these are 2 very good football teams, 2 teams that you would expect to see in the playoffs, 2 teams that have outstanding quarterbacks who can make every throw and are great leaders. Jacksonville has certainly upgraded its receiving core in the last couple of years, and I think that it goes without saying that Buffalo with Stephon Diggs is really, really, really talented outside. It's going to be, I think, a really interesting game from a defensive standpoint. The Bills are playing extremely well on defense. They lose one, so there's a minus because you lose Tre'Davious White. On the other hand, you're going to get your best pass rusher back this week when Von Miller comes back. And that pass rush was really, really good against Miami last week. I thought they handled the Miami offensive line, whether it was Floyd or whether it was Ed Oliver inside. I thought they all had great games. You could feel, Rousseau, you could feel Epinesa, you could feel the rushers. Now, those guys have been a little bit, I won't say a disappointment because that's too strong a way to say it, but those guys have been slow to grow. And I think, now that Floyd's in the mix, and certainly having, one of the premier pass rushers in the last, 10 years in Von Miller, that's really bodes well for their success. They're going to miss Tre'Davious White, though.
We'll talk about that game more in a second. We're going to get our picks in now. Big weekend for Jeff, the CFL, Pro Football Ireland. We're going to be in London. Please say hello to us. If you see us, I'll be flying out of Belfast first thing on Sunday morning. I do accept Guinness as forms of hugs. Also, Connor Mangan from Monday Morning Football. Connor is going to Pittsburgh with Ross Bolliger, Ty Leader, and Ronan Patterson for the Ravens game. So expect something special there as well. So we're in Canada. We're in Pittsburgh. We're in London this weekend, Jeff. And let's just get this out of the way. It's Friday morning for people listening to this, so get ready to laugh. We're making our picks. We're going to start off with the game of the season. The Chicago Bears going to play the Washington Commanders. Jeff, I actually have, believe it or not, for people listening to this, I actually have stuff to be at. I've got an absolute plethora of work to do. I'd like to take Friday, Saturday off before the London game, so I've got 4 articles to write tonight. I have to set up during this game. I mean, first world problems, Jeff. I've really got to the point now where it's I'm complaining over this, but I'm going to stay up and I'm going to watch it until I fall asleep. And Jeff knows more than anybody else. He calls me during these games. and I'm like a zombie. So I'm just going to be very quick with this and say I think the Commanders win. They go to 3-2 in the season, and yeah, I just don't think. I mean, the Bears are a complete disaster. There's no other way in saying it otherwise.
Yeah, the Bears. This is really, really a tough situation that they're faced with, and they haven't won a game. Having issues off the field. In their coaching staff, having issues with Claypool. Trying to give him away. I mean, he's not even any takers for the guy, and it's all bad. There's nothing really good that you can see. They did play better in the first half last week. I'll give them that. And now they've got to put two halves together. But I see signs of life, and I did a breakdown of some of the stuff, kind of a neat little concept Eric Bieniemy had against quarters coverage, and then how Sam Howell is really, really starting to show some real positive signs as a quarterback. Here's a guy, Neil. Here's a guy, Michael, that 2 years ago, he slid all the way to the 5th round in the draft. Everybody had said, well, he might be as high as a second rounder after his junior year. Didn't have a great senior year. Slid in the draft. Almost 150th pick in the draft in the 5th round. And you see him in the pocket, and Daniel Jones just got paid $40 million. And you watch this kid's pocket presence compared to Daniel Jones, and he's so far ahead. And I think the marriage of him and Terry McLaurin and having Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, there really starting to be some signs of life on that offense in Washington. So I'm going to take the Commanders.
Yes, sir. Right, we got to roll through some of these because we've only got like 25 minutes for this podcast. We talked a bit about London, Jags, Bills. I think the first thing we talked about, we had Henry on a podcast today. The games were announced, and then we obviously reacted to it, Jeff. That feels like a lifetime ago now, my friend. But I remember saying, does the home factor, does being in London for 2 weeks make a difference? I think it does. I think it'll be more. I think they'll be more competitive. I still think the Bills come in here and win. I just hope, Jeff. I hope it's a good game. Please, God. And by the way, we are less now than a month out from El Grande Fiesta, the Dolphins against the Chiefs in Frankfurt. Sweet Jesus of Nazareth. I cannot wait, Jeff. But we got London for now. What's your thoughts on this game? I'll take the Bills.
Well, I'm like everybody else. I'm anxious to watch it. I'm anxious to watch these two quarterbacks compete against each other. I'm anxious to watch these two head coaches battle it out. I think they're two of the better head coaches in the National Football League. I think right now, if you said to me, who's got the better roster top to bottom, I'd tell you the Bills do. I think the Jags have improved immensely in the time that Doug's been there. I think they have a chance to be a playoff team. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a playoff team, but I think right now, coming off the win that they had and the way that they won against Miami, I think you got to take the Bills. The Bills were not good the first weekend against the Jets, but after that, they've done what they need to do to win football games, and I'll take the Bills.
Typing on a tweet. Keep the questions coming in, folks. We really appreciate it. That's where you're from. Texans, Falcons. I'm just going to roll through mine tonight because I want you to have the spotlight and the time, Jeff. I like the Texans going into this. I feel the Falcons have been really deflated after last week. Texans to win this game after that fantastic performance against Pittsburgh last week.
Well, after the first month of the season, you would say of all the first-round quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud's the most successful. He looks the most at ease in the pocket. He looks the most control of his football team. He looks like the best leader of this bunch. I've been really impressed with C.J. Stroud. I think right now, if you said, name me a coach of the year in the National Football League, I think DeMeco Ryans is going to get some votes for that, certainly, because he's taken a team that nobody, and I mean nobody, thought had a chance, and they are competitive. They are winning football games, and I, like you, will take them to beat the Falcons this weekend.
Great minds. We're free at the minute, my man. We haven't been negotiating this behind the camera. Panthers, Lions. I'll make it quick. I'll make it breezy. The Lions win this game in Detroit. It's hard to believe the Panthers could go 0-5 this weekend because you look at the Bears. The Panthers, for me, are a better football team. But yeah, Lions to win this game.
Yeah, Panthers are dying for help outside. They need somebody that can be a playmaker outside. Adam Thielen is a great possession guy. He's a great number 2, but he's not a number 1. They need a number 1. Their young quarterback Bryce Young is struggling some. I think they're a team that's getting better, but I agree with you, Mike. I just really think that the Lions are really a good, tough, hard-nosed football team.
Every time you say Mike in your lovely mid-American accent, all I can think of is Big Mike from The Blind Side. Titans, Colts. This is the one game this weekend where I'm like, so the game's in Indy. I look forward to Jim Irsay's legendary roof open, roof closed tweet on Saturday night / Sunday morning. But Jeff, I'm finding this one hard to call. I think I went with the Titans to win this game. Bit of upmarket on last week. The Colts, look, I know you're down on Richardson, and in terms of you need to see him progress in the league. I can't put words into your mouth, so you can go mad at me there if you want. I'll take Tennessee in this game. Big divisional battle when they've got the Jags sitting in London playing a game. Big game for both teams, both sitting at 2-2, sir.
I think I'm going to take the Titans, and I want to make it clear I'm not down on Richardson. What I am is I'm trying to tap the brakes on the expectations on the kid because he is a freakish athlete, but he's learning how to be a quarterback, and he's particularly learning how to be a quarterback in pro football. That's not an easy transition, and I just really think that Mike Vrabel and that defense is the edge in this game, and their ability to run the football. I thought that we saw a real Titan win last week. That's the way they want to win football games. Be physical, play defense, run the football, and be opportunistic on offense.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just having a bit of crack. One of the most enjoyable things this offseason is talking Richardson. Right. I was going to ask you at the start of the show, we got to talk about this now. Giants going to the Dolphins. I'm picking the Dolphins every day of the week. Take the mortgage, bet the house. Actually, no, bet responsibly, 888 18+. Please be gamble aware. I'm talking metaphorically. Every chip I have, I'm putting on the Miami Dolphins to beat the New York Giants this weekend. As a guy that works in football, as a coach, as a guy that motivates young men that are in a very stressful league, a stressful position, what did you think of Brian Daboll on Monday Night Football? Because for me, I thought the way that he reacted to his quarterback, who he's trusted in and paid money, was unacceptable. Maybe you we have not talked about this, people wonder, maybe you completely disagree with me, but I thought the way Daboll tossed the tablet and all it was too much, Jeff. And look, yes, there was situations that were completely Daniel Jones' fault, but I mean, he didn't have much time to do anything, for God's sake.
Well, I think first of all, you got to understand that when you are in coaching and at the professional level and at the big time college level also, you are in an incredible fishbowl. There are cameras on you all the time, right? When we have a fight with our wives or, an argument with somebody on the street about a parking spot, whatever, right? Nobody cares. Nobody sees it. These guys, their livelihood is being judged once a week, right? That's the pressure cooker of pro football. And I know how Brian feels when the guy that you put faith in, the guy that you trust, the guy at the most important position on the football field, the critical guy doesn't perform the way he's capable of performing. And that frustration came out, on national television, on worldwide television. I understand it, right? Obviously, it's not a good look for him. It's not a good look for the Giants, but it's honest. It's honest. I thought, we want to talk about, bad look. What about Neil going after the fans and saying that the fans are all sheep and
an absolute disgrace
that they cook hamburgers and hot dogs, at their regular job and don't have any right to criticize him. That's what I'm saying. The pressure right now in New York is so strong, and that's the major media market in the United States. More newspapers in New York than any place in America. More television, more, right? More people talking about it, more takes, more hot takes, more radio, more all of it. And what Neil did was really gave the fans an opportunity to really come down on him now, right? Because he looks like a petulant child. Great comeback today. I don't know if you've seen it, Mike, but Saquon Barkley talked about what he had said. And Saquon showed so much maturity and so much class. And he said, you never win picking a fight with the fans, because the fans were here before we came, and the fans will be here long after we're gone. And that they pay our salaries, and you can't do those kinds of things. Unfortunately, Neil, who's been a big disappointment since he was drafted, they tried him at guard, tried him at tackle, tried him at guard again. They can't find a place for the guy to play. Their offensive line is a shambles. 11 sacks, Mike. 11. I don't know if I've ever heard of that in pro football. 11, right? And I'm talking about 85 Bears, the 78 Grits Blitz. I mean, you go through, I don't care what football team, the Purple People Eaters, the Legion of Boom, the Doomsday defense. Christ, I can't think of any of those defenses getting 11 sacks. And we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm not down in the Seahawks. Please understand that. But I'm saying that when you start talking about elite pass rushing groups in the National Football League, Seattle doesn't roll off your tongue.
I agree.
When you talk about Philadelphia and San Francisco and San Diego and all, that was Seattle. Got them 11 times.
I think thanks for everyone putting the questions in live, but we will come to them in the next podcast segment. And thank you very much, folks. Look, I feel like we could have a whole podcast episode on the Giants. We could see this coming. And that just shows you sometimes, like, we've seen what they were like last year. We could see it coming. We will come back to this. Note this down metaphorically in your head, Jeff. That doesn't even make sense. Note this down on your whiteboard behind you. Let's talk Giants Monday night, because I feel like if they lose to Miami, which I'm presuming you're picking the Dolphins, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, time will tell. We got to roll through some of these games. Just to make a note, we've got the Browns, the Chargers, Jeff's favorite team at the minute, the Seahawks, and the Bucks are all in the bye this week. Saints Patriots is in the early window. Saints going to New England. Jeff, looking at the Patriots schedule and how they've been playing, I've been very down on them. I've got them to win this week. The Patriots are going to go 2-3 in the season. Look at me not being biased against one of the most supported teams in Ireland. Who you got, Jeffrey?
Well, this is a really difficult one. I'm going to say it's going to be a real close game. Less than 3 points will separate the two teams. I give New England the nod because it's up in New England at this time of year. And, who knows what kind of weather they're going to get. We could get a great day, but we could also get snow. I mean, you just never know about New England this time of year. The Saints playing outdoors on grass, that doesn't help them. So again, I think all of those things are factors in this. And I think that New England will bounce back. They've got to play better offensively, though, Mike. They have to play better offensively. Losing Gonzalez is going to be a big hole. I don't know if J.C. Jackson will get in time and get processed enough to go out and play right away. But that's a big hole. That young kid was playing extremely well till he tore his labrum last week.
Yeah, Jesse Jackson going back in is interesting, and gutted for fans in Europe that we can't see Christian Gonzalez play in Frankfurt next month against the Colts. So all our best to him in his recovery. And I'm doing a piece on the Patriots this week and just the steps ahead for our dear friend Billy. Love that reel people were going on about the other day where I was going about Belichick and you were like, Mike. Enjoyed that. Game of the week for me, it's one of the games of the week. I'm not trying to be biased. Ravens going into Pittsburgh on the edge at the minute after a really, really poor performance against the Houston Texans. It feels, Jeff, like we are on the edge of a knife here and that any movement could derail something. This is a massive game in the AFC North when you've got the Bengals and we don't know what's going on with the Bengals. The Browns are on a bye. The Ravens could really make a statement this week and go 4-1, or Kenny Pickett, who we expect to play at this point, we're not sure how fit he actually is, could try and get back on track. Who wins this game? I'm going to be biased, and I'll just be openly honest because it's a picks podcast on an NFL podcast. I'm going to take the Steelers by 3 points, but my God, this is going to be a close game, Jeff. I think the Steelers defense, genuinely, I think the Steelers defense wins in the game in a tough, hard-fought battle that they come out on top of. Now you're going to tell me the Ravens are going to win.
No, I'm not going to tell you the Ravens are going to win. I'm just going to ask you, do you think the Steelers offense will even score 3 points?
Yes, I think the run game will come into itself this week, but you have to see that Pickens connection with Kenny Pickett this week. It has to happen. They need to be getting 17 to 21 points in a rugged, tough game, and their defense needs to come up from against the Ravens. And that's going to be very, very difficult because when you got Lamar Jackson there, when you've got such a hybrid quarterback and you can rely on the run game as well, never mind guys like Flowers, it could be a difficult day for them.
Well, I think this is one of those games that certainly it's become a great rivalry in the last 20 years. I mean, it is an intense physical battle every time these teams play. They don't have it's not like the Bears and the Lions or the Bears and the Packers that it's 100 years old. This is really since Ray Lewis that this game has become as intense as it is right now. I think the Ravens will win. I like both these head coaches very much. I think they're two of the better head coaches in the league. I just don't really think that the Pittsburgh offense, they have got to show it to me, right? We can't talk about it anymore. You got to show it to me. And I see Lamar on the other side looks more and more comfortable in the pocket, throwing the football. Andrews is a huge weapon. And, I think that the Ravens will get this done. I know that there are a lot of people say that in Pittsburgh it's too tough for them, but I like the Ravens. I think the Ravens are an underappreciated football team.
Okay. Interesting, Jeff. Well, you're definitely not coming on the Irish Steelers podcast next week. I'm joking. I want to keep you on for towards the big part of the season, but you're coming on. Don't worry. I promise. Bengals Cards. How the hell do I pick this? Is Joe Burrow playing? Is he 100% fit? I'm picking the Bengals only because everybody else in the Pro Football Ireland picks group, apart from I haven't seen what Mark Hogan's done, they're all picking the Cardinals. I'm like, what? It's still Cincinnati. Surely this is the week to get it together, Jeffrey. Shout out to all the people that are DMing me asking me, can the Bengals get it together? I think they do this week, Jeff.
Well, I think if they don't, then it's really, really going to be tough on them to get even.
Do you think it's good night if they don't?
I don't think it's good night, certainly, because we haven't even got to Thanksgiving yet. But I do think they will have put themselves in a hole that may be impossible to dig out from unless somebody else gets hurt or that's Mike. That is a very, very good division, and if you start out in as big a hole as that would be, that is a tough ask to crawl out of it. They know what this game means. They know the extent of and the gravity of this win, if they can get one, how that can change their season. Another L, and I'm going to tell you something, it's going to be really difficult in Cincinnati.
UGLY. It's going to be ugly. That was awful. Let's move on. Eagles Rams. Here we go. Michael's Claxon upset of the week. Have we got like a noise for this? Is there something that we can do here? Hold on. I've got it now, Jeff. You ready? No, it doesn't work. That doesn't work. No. Here we go. This week, Matthew Stafford turns back the clock, Jeff. In LA, in SoFi, in Hollywood Park, Inglewood Park, and the LA Rams get a home victory against the Philadelphia Eagles. You heard it here first, my man. I'm absolutely mental, but you know what? Why not? Why can't they do it? I'm taking the Rams to go 3-2 and shock the NFL on Sunday at SoFi.
Well, I think, McVay's done a great job with his team, right? And, his best offensive player isn't playing yet. And Puka Nacua, the rookie kid out of BYU, is having an unbelievable season. He's on pace right now, Mike, to set the all-time receiving record in the National Football League.
He's unbelievable, Jeff.
Can he keep that up through 15, 14, whatever, how many more weeks there are? Probably not, because once Cooper Kupp comes back, he's going to have to share targets. But he is a legitimate guy, and he is a weapon. I just feel like the Eagles are too strong, and I don't think the Eagles have yet hit their stride. I don't think the Eagles have yet played a complete football game. And I think they'll go out there, and there is no question that they have respect for the Rams. You look across the line and you see Aaron Donald, you have respect for that football team. You look across the line of scrimmage and you see Matthew Stafford, you have respect for that football team. So I think the Eagles will go out there on a mission. And East Coast to West Coast travel is tough, but I'm going to take the Eagles.
Did you like that music?
I couldn't hear it.
Okay. All right. Well, next week. Um, the Jets done very well against an AFC West team at the weekend. We're not going to talk about a stinger in this podcast. We're done. I'm done now as well. I enjoyed it while it lasted, but we're going to swiftly move on. And I would say that Zach Wilson beats the Denver Broncos in Mile High on Sunday. I can't believe I'm saying this. I just don't believe in my team anymore. I want them to win desperately. I think the Jets win on Sunday. I think it's a must-win game for both teams. Both teams are 1-3. I thought obviously the Broncos' comeback was impressive last week, but the way they went down against Chicago was very concerning for me. I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking Zach Wilson to shut people up and get the job done. They're wearing white-out helmets, Jeff. Will that help us win on Sunday, as in Denver?
Your Broncos, they better figure out how to play defense before they worry about what helmets they're wearing. Right now, I watched them against Washington, and they did not play well at all. Structurally, they didn't play well at all. Just like guys like good players like Simmons, just not playing well. And I know that it's got to be frustrating in Denver because they've got better talent than they're playing right now on defense. I swear I cannot take Denver. I got to take the Jets. I think one of the things we saw was a little bit of a glimmer of hope for the Jets offense if Wilson's going to play quarterback. But I agree with Tony Dungy and a number of other football coaching pundits who say that they've got to lean more on their run game. They've got to lean more on and not expect him to do as much as he had to do last week. If they can do that, their defense is an elite defense. And I think that, without a bad call, frankly, last bad officiating call or controversial officiating call, they might have beaten Kansas City, and they would have beaten Buffalo and Kansas City in the first 5 weeks of the season. And you'd take that, I think. So I'm going to take the Jets.
And without Aaron Rodgers as well, which says a lot.
Yep.
And if the Jets win this Sunday, fair play to them because they're proving a lot of people wrong. Zach Wilson's, let's move on because we haven't got time. But the disrespect that he was showing by Rodney Harrison was disgraceful, I thought, on Sunday Night Football. Anywho, let's talk about a team that was on Sunday Night Football last week. The Chiefs going up against the man, Jeff. Did you know that Kirk Cousins is 19-0 in the month of October? Does he make it 20? Chiefs at the Vikings. The Vikings 1-3. If they won this game, it completely turns their season around.
I don't think so. I don't think the Chiefs played particularly well last week. I think they'll bounce back and play better this week. I'm a little concerned about the wide receiver room in Kansas City. Just in terms of, they have to sort kind of out the pecking order, I think, a little bit over there. And, it can't be all Travis Kelce. They need to find out who is their go-to guy. Who's the guy that they've always been able to have a wideout that can make a play for him. Right now, it's kind of inconsistent, and we need to see who that's going to be. So I think this is a game where against Minnesota, you might see that. You might see that wide receiver core step up a little bit. But I'll tell you what, you better be leery of Harrison Smith if you're Pat Mahomes, because he have a game last week. And, what an outstanding blitzer, for a guy who's getting up in there in his career, in his age. I thought he played extremely well last week.
Do you only got that feeling that you're like, I think he's going to do it? Man, I just want to see the streak continue. I like streaks. Whenever The Undertaker lost at WrestleMania, I was devastated. And I'm just going to say, let's see. I think it would be class if Kirk Cousins kept it going. 19-1 October. Let's see. I do think the Chiefs will win. So there's my pick. Jeff, look, I'm not saying that you're a man of a certain age, but you've been around the league for a long time. And this is positive. It's positive, right? You've been around the league for a long time. Every time you see a fixture like the Cowboys and Niners, you must be excited. Yeah, like you've seen it all. You know, with these two
Absolutely.
teams. Absolutely.
Like this is a game with so much history, right? You go back to Bill Walsh against Jimmy Johnson. You go back to Jerry Rice against Deion Sanders. Steve Young against Troy Aikman. I mean, there's just so much history in this game, and really, I think this is a game that Jerry has openly said, and I think this is really interesting. He said, we're going to find out how we stack up after we play the 49ers. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, right? There's a lot of times I don't put much stock in what Jerry says, but I think that's a real truism. We're going to find out how good that offense is. We're going to find out about Dak, and we're going to find out about that defense, because the potential hole in the Cowboys defense is their run defense. And this is a team in San Francisco that runs the ball maybe as good as anybody in the National Football League against the best back in football right now in Christian McCaffrey, right? So their wide receivers block extremely well on the perimeter. They've got big, strong, physical guys up front that understand the zone scheme and run the outside zone as well as anybody in football. And McCaffrey is that really special guy that can run between the tackles, and you can split him out and he can play wide receiver. So I'm going to give San Francisco my nod.
Just while we're talking, our dear friend, comrade Ian Rappaport tweeting that Kenny Pickett is a full participant, so he's expected to play on Sunday against the Ravens. Jeff, I'm taking the Niners. I think the Niners will win this game. The big thing for me will be how close the Cowboys are to them. They're going into Levi's. They're going up against McCaffrey. He's lethal. That's why I have the Niners winning this game. If the Cowboys won this game, interesting. That's definitely what we're going to open with Monday night if that happens. Right. Finally, Jeff, it's time for your favorite time of the week.
Monday Night Football!
Monday night. Dear God. We're getting your questions in a second, folks. Packers at your Raiders, Jeff. Maybe the Packers fans will find a way to, or the Raiders fans will find a way to annoy their owner. Did you see that video on TikTok of all the Raiders fans giving it to the Raiders owner in SoFi Stadium last week? And he was like, I know. I'm watching the game. He's like,
well,
fire McDaniels.
I think it's really a tough situation right now in Las Vegas, and they're not good enough. I feel sorry for for Mark Davis. He getting lambasted in public and private and on the internet, everything. Josh McDaniel, the same thing. They just had a really tragic situation with Chandler Jones, who apparently is having some mental issues and got arrested last week. You look at Max Crosby, and he's Max Crosby. Almost any other place, people would be talking about defensive player of the year, and in the Raiders, it's just all lost because there's so many other subplots and bylines and stories, and but there's a guy playing his ass off every week, and he's got to be dying. And the same thing, Devontae Adams, he's got to be dying, because those guys are class guys and world-class players, and they're playing at a place right now where they just don't have a chance.
Monday Night Football. Es lunes. It's Monday. I'm going to take the Packers. I love that guy. I got to meet him someday. Like, what's his name? John Sutcliffe? I love it. Love it. You ever met John Sutcliffe?
Yeah, I've seen him at the Super Bowl. I think we ought to.
You very casually said that. Yeah, yes.
Well, you go to the Super Bowl. She's a lot of people. I see Ric Flair at the Super Bowl. I see.
Hold on. Let's put that in the next podcast. Like, let's literally have that as the opening question. There's some great questions here as well. What were you going to say about the game? Have you had a natural?
I just think that the Packers are showing us that they're a good football team, right? And now, are they an elite team? No, but I think they're a good enough football team to go into Las Vegas and take care of the Raiders.
I agree. This is the end of this segment. Jeffrey and myself will be attempting to answer some questions in the next segment as we swiftly drift on to the next segment. We'll see you on the other side, Starship lovers. Okay, Jeff, go for it, my pal.
Hey, welcome, everybody. This is now the fun time for us. This is when we open a mailbag. We take your questions. We take your tweets. We take your takes. We take your rants. we even take some advice. If you got some advice, you can give us. But this is when we interact with the fans, and it's the most fun part of the show for me.
We have a heap of questions tonight, man. It was quiet Monday night. Es lunes, es Monday.
Hey, amigo, más rápido.
Sí, señor.
Las preguntas, por favor. You don't even know what that means. You don't even know.
Cuatro semanas, mi trabajo es en Barcelona con mi amor. I go to Barcelona, so that week's gonna be sketchy for us. I'm in Barcelona, so I like here. Just for people listening to this, Jeff, so my wife was like in like April, what like I'm off of Halloween, let's go on holiday. Okay, yeah, so I booked Barcelona, paid for Barcelona, no worries. I get back into Dublin at 11:45 p.m. on Friday the 2nd of November, and I have to go to Frankfurt at 6 a.m. the following morning. Who thought that was a good idea? Not me. Es no bueno, amigo.
Okay, well, I think that we should get to the questions and not talk about your marital situation.
Coffee con coach. We will still make this happen that week. Don't worry, I've got her blessing. Muchas gracias. Anyway, let's move on. I wanted to ask you one thing where we get these questions. You mentioned meeting Ric Flair. Who else? Like, who's been the most crazy person you've met at the Super Bowl? Because you've been to some amount of Super Bowls. I mean, for me, it was the whole Pat McAfee thing this year. I was mortified. I genuinely wanted to like
one of the most fun ones at the Super Bowl was I was at the San Francisco 49ers, or I'm sorry, it was the San Francisco Super Bowl where the Broncos played, and I was interviewing a Broncos player, and I look up, just kind of look over the top of his head as I'm interviewing, and I see Snoop Dogg walking up with his entourage, right? And then Snoop Dogg kind of like was standing behind the guy I was interviewing because he wanted to interview him next. And I stood up and I said, "Damn it, Snoop Dogg, this is my interview," right? And he didn't know what to do at first. Like he was like, "Hey, bro." So it was fun. That was fun. Snoop Dogg was a blast. Going to Radio Row, if you're a football fan, it's like going to a live Hall of Fame where, like last year, do you remember, Mike, how Carl Eller, who is a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest when I was a little kid,
just walking along,
great player, just spending time, and he was such a genuine, nice guy to talk to. And it doesn't, you see all those people, right? And so I think that Radio Row situation is certainly a blast for me, but having an opportunity to see Ric Flair and spend a little time with him at the Super Bowl was fun. Going into a bar and seeing Ryan Fitzpatrick sitting at the bar and then going behind the bar, right? And I had just by sheer luck, had a camera, and I went behind the bar in I think it was Tampa. I went behind the bar,
Miami.
And I said, "We're going to make the perfect mojito." Now, this is a packed bar. There's people all over the place, right? And I'm behind the bar. But as long as you got a television camera, you got it's open, right? You can almost do anything you want at the Super Bowl. So I'm behind the bar, and this bartender, right? I tell him that, where I'm from, and we're here to film the perfect mojito, right? And so the guy mixes a mojito, and Ryan is sitting right at the bar, right across from where we're going. And I'm not paying attention to it. I'm just doing my thing, right? And so I said, at the end, the guy hands me the drink. And I said, "I think we need a taste tester." And I said, "And now I think NFL quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick needs to be our taste tester." So I handed the drink to him, and the camera guy didn't, because Fitzpatrick has back to me. He didn't know who it was, right? And Fitz turned, and it was like this moment, right? And then Fitz was beautiful. It was like it was scripted, like we had practiced it before. And he goes, "It's a little limey, but I do like that," and like he was some sort of aficionado or connoisseur or whatever. And we had so much fun that day. And you should have seen, like, people were 4 deep at the bar, right, watching this crazy madness go on. But that's what Super Bowl week is like.
I was trying to find, just while you were talking, I was trying to find the photo of you from Radio Row, where, like, we're just sitting having some fun, and suddenly I look up and this guy, and it's you in that blue Hawaiian shirt, but I can't find it. I will say, I was walking along. Well, here's the first one. I was walking along this year and seeing this guy, but what really hit me was two things. I was walking along, and I looked up, and obviously people know that I'm a massive Denver Broncos fan, and I'm walking along, and I see this guy, and I'm thinking, oh boy, they got there. Shannon Sharp. But I was going up the escalator. So for people listening, there's two escalators, and I was in one. They were both going up the way. On the other side was Pat McAfee, AJ Hawk. Just started chatting to them, and I should have said, "Lads, do you want to go for a pint?" Just like, he's like, "You're that Irish guy." I was like, "Yeah, that's about the height of it." So yeah, I was like, man, my God. Brandon has messaged saying, "See you in Glasgow in November, lads. Looking forward to it. linktr.ee/Reinebold. November the 25th in Glasgow. Venue announced soon." I think Jeff's managing that. Are you managing that venue?
Hey, Brendan, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to seeing you too. And again, to get back in Glasgow, and where I know that those Glaswegian fans and the NFL fans in Scotland are outstanding. We will be up there, and we will be sponsored by 888 Sports, the official betting partner of the National Football League in both the UK and Ireland. And again, come to the shows. We're going to have a blast. Fred Flunk says, "Is there a worse haircut in the NFL?"
Yes, there is. This haircut right here.
I'm going to tell you something. I think that Owen, although it's not in the NFL anymore, but Owen Wilson's mullet in Seattle was bad. That might be as bad as Mark Davis's hat.
Luke Walsh says, "Hey from Northern California, where the girls will warm me." And then he said, "Sorry, I got to run. So thank you very much." Your friend, Gur.
Hey, we got it. Good, Luke. We'll see you again next week. Come with a question now. All right. And it's good to have Northern California represented on the show.
Gur from Ireland said, "This is a question from Gary McGurk from Monaghan." You ever been to Monaghan, Jeff?
Nope. I'm hoping to make it though this year.
Do you know where Monaghan is?
No.
Actually, you've never heard of Monaghan?
I want to be everywhere in Ireland. I want to drive.
Monaghan is.
I want to see every little town, every little pub, all of it.
Well, Monaghan is a little county beside me. It's just over the border. I mean, and there's a lovely little village just over the border called Emmyville, and this is where Gary McGurk's talking about here. And back in the day, people used to drive from the north into Emmyville to smuggle diesel because it was a lot cheaper. So it's a very famous place. So Gary McGurk is this is like most random thing of the week. What does Jeff think of the emergence of Romeo Doubs and the Packers' wide receiver room compared to the receivers Rodgers had to work with?
Well, I think the first thing is that they're younger, right? And they're more, in some cases, more dynamic. I think that, the guys that Rodgers had to work with, frankly, were Rodgers guys. He wanted those guys because he had a rapport with them, and I think that's important. It takes time to build a rapport, and that's what's impressive about, one of the things that's impressive about the Packers and Romeo Doubs is that they haven't had a lot of time together.
Yeah.
And I think Love has done a good job, and that offense is moving in the right direction. And if they can stay healthy, I think that they're going to be, again, a factor in the race in November and December.
Right, we got one from Brandon, who's in Scotland. Had a message a second ago. "What's your thoughts on Fangio's bend but don't break defense? Putting Kohu and nickel corner on Diggs the whole game was suicide instead of putting Xavier Howard on him. Bills feasted on that matchup." I agree, Jeff.
Yeah, Kohu he couldn't handle Diggs, and what they were doing, they couldn't get help to him. And you got to credit the Bills too. The Bills had a hand in that, with the formations that Kenny Dorsey and the personnel groups that Kenny Dorsey put on the field. So I thought it was great coaching by the Bills coaching staff, and I think that the Dolphins are going to learn from that. Kohu he just cannot match up with Stephon Diggs.
Love it, Jeffrey. Love it. Shane, your friend, met Shane last week. Good to see him again. He was in Wembley last week. Always looking well, Shane. Shane's got a better head of hair than I have. Let's just put it that way. Hey guys, Shane, Carlo. You ever been to Carlo, Jeff?
I'm gonna be. I might move into Carlo for a while.
Do you want to guess what color their GEA team wear, like jerseys? Guess. I'll give you £100 right now if you can guess.
Cardinal.
Huh?
Cardinal.
What do you mean? Hold on. What color is Cardinal?
Dark red.
Dark red. I mean, I'll give you one more guess. I mean, we're live. We will have
Pink.
some fun.
Pink.
Pink? No, I mean, I was going to show. Do you know what? You know what the fun thing about technology is? When you start a Coffee with Coach on Periscope by yourself, look at technology now. There you go. That's not Cardinal.
Wow, that looks like it ought to be from somewhere in the West Indies. That's pretty fancy right there.
Oh my god. Okay, right. Okay. Shane said he's a Patriots fan. He loves listening every Friday. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it, sir. Hope you're doing well. Thoughts on the Titans, considering all AFC's type teams are 2-2. Can Tannehill, Henry, and D-Hop lead into the division? Jeff, for me, I think this Jaguars game this weekend is massive. So big, because it's a statement for the Tennessee if they can go beat the Colts this weekend as well.
Well, I think those are the two teams that I think are going to be fighting it out for the division. But again, this is a division that we didn't think much of before the season started. And now you're starting to look at that and you realize that there's some pretty good football teams and some pretty good football players in that division. And I would put the Titans in that class. The Titans are always going to be a tough out because they're so physical and they're so well coached. Again, can they win the division? We got a lot of football left to play, but I think they're in the conversation, certainly.
Gurr thought he would double dip. By the way, apparently that went viral. You calling him Gurr last week. I'm like at home. Said a disgruntled Bears fan. Gurr, I can think of many things I'd rather do tonight than watch that absolute plot. But please text me if you're awake. And Jeff, please you text me as well so I can stay awake. A disgruntled Bears fan. Do you think Eberflus and Poles will still be in the post on tomorrow? For people listening on Friday, we've done this pre-Thursday night football. Man, it's a long way from the Super Bowl shuffle and the punk QB.
Yeah, it is. And that's my thing with the Bears, right? Because that is one of the most iconic franchises with one of the most loyal fan bases and, frankly, long-suffering fan bases. They've had moments of glory, right? The 85 team that was, we still talk about today. Lovey took them to a Super Bowl and they couldn't get it done. But other than that, it's been frustration after frustration. It's a proud organization. You go back to George Halas and, they used to battle the Packers every year for the championship and in the old NFL. And, it's just hard for me to watch it. They're just a bad football team right now. And I think, there's a lot of reasons for that. And one of the reasons I think is it's an organization that for a long time hasn't invested in winning. And I'm going to tell you something, there's nothing more expensive than losing.
We've also got Clive from London. Clive, we're going to try and get Jeff to London. Leave it with me. I'll see if my wife lets me out of the house. Clive, Bears fan from London. Are there going to be more teams finishing around 500 this year, other than a few clearly at the top and a few clearly at the bottom? The other 20 or so teams are very even. I guess, Jeff, that's the beauty about this first month of the league. It's very, very even. It seems more even than normal, or maybe I'm losing my head.
No, I think it's a testimony to the National Football League and the rules and the salary cap and the way we draft and the way the free agency order and all of those things are all designed with for the purpose of not having elite teams, not having a team that if you're a fan of another team, you just say there's no way we could ever beat that team. I think you watch every Sunday, and we've seen it enough already where you better come to play. You're Dallas and you're puffing your chest and you're feeling really good about yourself. You go out to play an Arizona team that nobody gives a chance, and you get your butt beat. Well, that's what happens in this league. It is not like the Premiership where you just can go buy a championship. It doesn't work that way in our league, and I think that's one of the reasons people love the NFL so much.
Rodri from Tredegar Wales. Roger, I butchered that, my friend, so please forgive me. I think Zach Wilson, he agrees with you, Jeff. He thinks Zach Wilson gets a bit of moral revenge for Nathaniel Hackett. Who's Nathaniel Hackett? I've literally made him leave my mind. Against Sean Payton, after what he said, Breece Hall is off pitch count. You seem very confident about the Jets this weekend, Jeff.
I like the Jets this weekend, and I think it's going to be, this is a game that really in August, there was a lot of anticipation about this game because of the saga between, Sean Payton and Nathaniel Hackett, where Sean Payton said it was the worst coaching job in NFL history. Well, all of a sudden, Sean Payton, has found out it's a little tougher in Denver than he thought it was going to be. Hackett's now with the Jets. They're going to play the Denver. It'll be interesting to see what the post-game handshake is like. But I think having Breece Hall off that pitch count is critical. And again, if Hackett will scheme up an attack that doesn't ask Zach Wilson to do too much, particularly from the pocket, then I think that the Jets will win this football game.
I love it, Jeffrey. We got a few more questions. Jer saying, shout out to the Emmy Bowl lads. Fred saying, open invite, lads. I'll take you both to Glendala in the Garden of Ireland. I don't know where that is, Fred. I'm sorry. Rodri has one more for us from, thoughts on the Broverly shove in Philly. How can it be stopped? Love that there's a rugby element in the NFL. Jeff, big rugby weekend this weekend. I might not make the London game. Enjoy the games this weekend, boys. All the best. What do you think, Jeff?
I think that tush push or brotherly shove or whatever you want to call it, they're gonna have to look at that because there is a rule that says you're not allowed to aid another player over the line of scrimmage, right? You can't shove a guy into the end zone. Well, that's really what goes on it's a rugby scrum, right? And I'm not anti-rugby at all. I love the sport. I'm a big All Blacks guy, but I will tell you this, that I think it's something that they're going to need to look at because, I don't know how you stop it defensively. I really don't know how you stop it defensively.
You're a big All Blacks guy. I mean, obviously you're lending your support the next few weeks, or else there won't be a live podcast, Jeff. I mean, this is the T's and C's. Allez les vert. Finally, we've got JK from Brighton. I've never been to Brighton. I'd love to go. Maybe we can find a way to have a show. Is it nice? Yeah.
Nice.
Jeff, do you think the season is too short? Only 17 regular season games compared to other sports seems low. I'm thinking other high impact games such as rugby, ice hockey. It just is what it is, Jeff, isn't it?
I don't think, I really wish sometimes that when I hear these kinds of discussions, and I understand what he's saying, right? I'm not saying it's foolish. I'm just saying that I wish you could get the seat that I have every game day, which is right on the sidelines. And if you heard the collisions and I'm not talking about contact, I'm talking about collisions that go on every single play, you would say that 17 games is too much because these guys put their bodies at risk. And it's one thing to tackle without pads. It's a completely other thing to tackle with a hard helmet and shoulder pads. And on top of it, these are massive human beings moving incredibly fast, right? When you talk about an athlete that weighs 230 pounds running 18 or 19 or 20 miles an hour into another athlete running that fast, can you imagine what the sound of that is? I mean, you can almost feel the shock waves come off the player when you see it. And, again, I know that high-level rugby and ice hockey are violent sports. They are, right? But I cannot describe to you. And I've been on the sidelines or at the edge of the rink for hockey, and I've been on the sidelines for world-class rugby, and I love it. And I'm not saying that those are soft or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying television does not do it justice to be on the sidelines at a pro football game and see how big and strong and fast these guys are.
Big thanks to Rodri saying great effort with a Tredegar pronunciation. Birthplace the NHS. Yes, sir. Thanks. Love the show. Thank you, Rodri. I know Jeff.
Thanks, Rodri. It's great to have you with us, brother.
Mr. Clive Underhill, party of teams any given Sunday is one of the best things about the league. That being said, I'm waiting for the Bears any given Sunday. Jeff, I'm looking forward to this Sunday, man.
Well, this might be the Bears Sunday. You never know. You never
They're playing
know.
tonight, but yes, they could have a very happy Sunday. But
Yep.
yes,
it could be Black Sunday in Chicago. You never know how this is going to sort itself out.
That's the beauty of the league, man. You're going to be missed on Sunday in Tottenham, big time. I know. Neil and Phoebe are going to be there. Jason's obviously there with IT, but like you'll be missed. I'm looking forward to getting over here very, very soon. Hurry up and get over here.
I'm looking
very
forward to
quickly.
it. Are we going to do a live shot from when you're in Tottenham? I'd love to see how the stadium looks and the crowd and all of it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to try it. Wembley was a bit sketchy in the Wi-Fi, but I'm buzzing. I don't know if you've seen it, but Mark Hogan done a vlog of like getting up in the morning and going to London, and he videoed me FaceTiming you. I had no idea he'd done it, so at the very, very least, we'll do that there. Big shout out to Brandon as well for getting the comment in. Appreciate it, mate. Thanks, man.
We'll see you in Glasgow, Brandon. Bring all your friends.
And just realizing we didn't get Mickey Brady's question in. I feel bad now. Have we got time, Jeff? You got 1 minute?
Yeah, shoot, yeah.
Mickey's from Newry. He's a big Steelers fan. When will Matt Canada's position as OC become untenable? No comment from me, Jeff. You say.
Well, I think it's getting to that point. I think it's getting to the frustration point.
In season, you think?
Well, I think that Mike Tomlin said the other day that he said there will be changes, and he didn't walk it back later, but he did say he was talking about the way they practice, just procedural changes. But you're not going to let this season go down the tubes, right? And I think that's, it's one of those deals. It's not like Matt Canada's in his first year, right? And they're just trying to grow through the growing pains of a new coordinator. He is struggling. They are struggling. And when, one of the things that you guarantee for sure, it's a performance-based industry. And if you don't perform, they find somebody else. That's the way it is for players, and that's the way it is for coaches.
But like us as well, Jeff. If we didn't perform, somebody else would be here. So
you're right. That's exactly right. You better keep that in mind, buddy.
Let's go. We're gonna be back Monday night. I'm gonna need a lot of coffee with Coach that night, because I tell you what, I don't know if people watch back on Monday night, I was struggling. Everybody, if you're religious, pray for EasyJet. That's all I'm gonna say, or else I'll be in very, very bad form. But Jeff, looking forward, anyway. I obviously seeing Neil last week made me think, God, I can't wait to meet Jeff again. Neil looking like a young spring chicken. You're looking like a young spring chicken. We've got to get you back over. I know everyone's looking forward to it, sir. For people that are watching this, as Luke Walsh just said, please do hit the like button. It makes a massive difference. If you can comment, subscribe, makes a big, big difference. Jeff is back at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Ireland, UK on Monday. And you can check out Jeff's tour. Manchester, December the 2nd. Glasgow, November the 26th. And then a full Irish tour. Cork is nearly sold out, which is scary. And it's going to be class. I can't wait. So, Jeff, I chat to you soon, my man. Give us a mahalo. Big shout out to 888. Bet responsibly. See you at Tottenham on Sunday, folks. If you're going, Jeff, see you soon, my man.
All right. Aloha and enjoy the weekend.
Enjoy the weekend, but mostly enjoy
Monday Night Football! Monday